help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna go where people know the people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna go where people know the people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. I hit the button, but it didn't work. Um, First angle clack of the night. Don't worry, there'll be many more on Nick's stream later. As I was saying, and you didn't hear me. Hello, everybody. How you doing? I hope you are adapting well to the changes in the world. There's a lot going on. The last couple of years have changed a lot of things, including jobs, and there are things to look at. There's a lot of people I know that have switched jobs since the pandemic started, and because different jobs have opened up, or their jobs closed down, or for various reasons, maybe their job changes something they don't like anymore. But this is a good opportunity to start looking, and even if you're at a job that you're okay with, maybe look around and see if there might be something that actually improve your livelihood, make you happier, maybe give you a little extra money, maybe even less money. Sometimes money isn't as important as having quality time in the right time period. Because if you're working like a swing shift job like I used to, I'll be honest, it did seriously affect my social life. I spent, for one, my first swing shift job, I raced go karts in upstate New York, alcohol go karts, and I couldn't race every week, only every other because of it. So for me, I always started in the back of the pack, always, because you always went by your polls were from the previous week. You didn't have, unless it's a special event, you didn't have hot runs. But yeah, so I always started the back of the pack and had to race to the front, and then I'd get a decent spot, but I wouldn't be able to come back next week. So something like that, it might seem little. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. It was annoying, but I didn't think much of it because I just went to have fun. But if I'd kept up with it, eventually I would have wanted to change my job to the point where I was on a solid shift so I could come every week. And that's just one reason for something a long time ago, but things right now are important. So adapt to what you need to. And by the way, anyone is always, as long as you're nice to everyone, you're always available. The panel is always available to come on and state something that's maybe, it doesn't even have to be pertinent to this. If you have something going on, go ahead. If you can change the show depending on what's going on. Or we can discuss some things that you've noticed, changed, or something you'd like to work on. These are always options on here. If as no one shows up, we will keep this a little short tonight because I always try to be off before Nick anyway. Arnie. But we will also be able to go long, including opening Zoom, keep Zoom open after the show to talk if anything needs to be talked about. That's always the case. It's important that we keep those communications and, ways of communication active, as well as friendship ties, and treat each other with respect and dignity and be nice to one another. It's not an easy thing in this day and age. You don't see it all the time. In some areas you do, in some areas you don't. And I think that's important. We try to be the best version of ourselves as we can. And yeah, it's good to see you. And Christopher Earl's been in chat. He was in here early. Good to see you. Looks like we have a few others that aren't talking, but that's fine. You don't have to talk. Sometimes listening is actually just as good. And, I've heard feedback from people in PMs later. That's fine too. But we need to just make sure you try to work on anything that's bothering you. And if nothing is bothering you, that's good. And here comes Chris. If nothing is bothering you, that's a good thing too. It's always good to at least keep your eyes open to maybe possibilities of something that could make your life a little easier, a little happier, a little more relaxed. With all the lockdowns that have kicked in here and there and everywhere, and I know Chris has seen this firsthand over there, the lockdowns make your life crazy. That changes your life completely too, in your social life. So make sure your social structure is still there some way. If you don't have enough interaction, so to speak, going to places or going out to places to see people, right here, Zoom is a great place to go. There's Discords, there's Zooms, there's always some place to go and still interact with people. It's a really good thing to do.
Yep. It is.
Yeah. For me personally, I know that there's been times where if I didn't have it, I don't think I would have done well. I think I would have I would have become very isolated on purpose even, if it wasn't for the fact that it was right there. It's like, I should do this. Or I feel like I need it, but if it wasn't there, you wouldn't have it. And then
I think it's good as well, but people like yourself and like other like vaping communities over in like America can set one of these sort of things up. So like for like myself and like for Raj and whoever else is in the UK, can actually like come to contact me on Zoom if they don't need any problem, like if they've got problems what they can't solve themselves, or which ways they can go about it, and to give you so you can give them good advice. So obviously they can say, well, yeah, that is a good advice. Or you know what I mean, sort of thing.
yeah, and there's many
I'll
times
listen to it.
that I get good advice or see something new, a different way of approaching something in chats or people that come on. And that's why it's important to work as a community to help people, because the more people you have, the more ways you look at it. Because like with anything, like with a lot of things, there's not one way to help everyone. Everyone's different. You are an individual, and what works for one person might not work for another. So even when the best advice you can get for anything isn't always the answer for everyone. So, but it's good to have that friendship connection and be friendly to one another and try to be open with it. I mean, It's not always easy. Sometimes it's easier to sit back and watch for a while. We've had people in the Discords do that before, sit there back and watch. And I'll either get a
Yeah.
PM or they'll put a post up that something's been helping, or just being there, feeling that they're not alone, that they have the option can even help. So that's important. Uh, it had to have affected, like, I know UK's actually had more lockdowns than we've had over here, more serious lockdowns. So how did that affect you over there? I mean, have you had to adapt to try and maybe become more online friend, have more online friends, or?
Mm, obviously, as you know, I come into yours when you go live.
Yeah, I know.
I have on the odd occasion come on here when you're not allowed to see a few hours on here, but obviously you must only go on here when you actually go live, which I didn't know that, but I do now. Um, obviously I go on to Lethals,
Yep,
and I go on to Batman's. Do you know Batman?
yep, yep. Batman's a good
Yeah.
guy.
I went on to his, but obviously he's not around at the moment because he's had a lot of things going on. Um, people are still in that one, but also you have to be a patron to go into it.
Yep,
And then I used to go into Frame, Frame's Stew Crew and all that lot.
yep, yep.
I used to go into I used to go into that, but obviously then I had some problems. I had to get a new phone, go back onto the Discord and log on. That's why you probably see my Discord thing probably about 3 or 4 times because I've had to go in about 3 or 4 times because I've had a new phone since all then. And probably Lethal seen it and stuff like that. I used to be in Batman's Discord, but obviously he had to disconnect it all because of what were going on in his chats and people saying stuff what wasn't true and stuff like that. So I deleted that and I set up a WhatsApp set up a WhatsApp and I set up a Zoom, but only for patrons.
Yeah, and mine
And
used to be open more
I
often.
used to do YouTube as well, and I used to subscribe to that, but I didn't do it on that anymore now. I don't think.
Yeah, I used to be on a lot more. I had my Zoom open more, but I am mostly just on during live shows because, and if I'm not, I'm usually in Fresh 03s. Um, but the reason why is because I'm on, as you know, multiple shows. Like yesterday, there's something that wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Zoom and connections like this. Yesterday, I was on the UK liquid mixing show. That's my Wednesday show I do now, and I would have been on last night on Golf Tea Vapes, but I was just too exhausted. Just too many shows this week, and it's been a long week. So it's yeah. Cat just sneezed. If you guys heard that in the background, maybe jump for a second. It's like, what? Wait, what was that noise? Um, no, so I don't get around as much as I would like to in all the different areas because I am quite busy. But I'm still trying to do the same thing no matter where I'm at, trying to spread the positivity because we really need it. And you see it. You see it with the bots. You see it with the chats and the people getting upset. And this is stuff that we see, and it spreads here and there. It's even hit here before. I've seen some of it in the chats before, where two people get in, they don't get along, and they just can't help but go at each other. But the world, life is short. Is it worth it? And if you're gonna do that in private. Don't do that publicly. It's not gonna do any good to anyone. It just
No.
causes other people to get annoyed and upset, and
Involve,
then maybe take away their relaxing
people
place.
to get annoyed, but also probably get involved if it's something along with them. If it's their mates and they know them as well, then obviously they're going to get involved, aren't they? They're not going to let the mates get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep. And you also have the fact that maybe that's the safe place that someone goes once a week. Like maybe someone coming in here maybe doesn't even chat. Maybe this is their safe place to kind of relax and chill. And they come into chat and they see a bunch of people arguing. Granted, we can't 100% stop that from happening because we're human, and that kind of thing happens. And allergy season is fun. Spring allergies starting to kick in over here. The pollen and the pine trees, I've already noticed it. So all the evergreens.
Well,
So
we don't start that till April, May.
it doesn't
Okay.
usually start this early, but we had this little warm spell this week, and I've noticed when I went by, I saw some spots of yellow on the snow from like pollen yellow already. And it's like that's a little early. It doesn't usually happen like that, but there was a little bit of it underneath one of the pine trees.
I was gonna say where Lethal is. He's got snow over there,
Yeah, I've
nice.
got snow here. I got snow here too, but it was like melting, and I noticed that there's a discoloration to the top layer of the snow that was on there. And I was looking at it and just watched it like there's a little layer of water, and there's actually over the snow from when the melting, and it's got like a yellow haze. If you look at it real close, it's like a little bit of the pine pollen's already starting to release. I don't know why. It's
Oh,
like okay, you guys aren't the trees weren't smart enough this year to wait till spring, so I don't know. But
but
no, we
you see, I thought you had to get over a certain amount of temperature for that to come up.
yeah, and
Not when
but
it's
the thing was we were
not when it's not when it's snowing and stuff like that, and then coming up off the ground when it's melted, when it's evaporated off the water.
yeah, we were in like negative 22 Fahrenheit just less than 2 weeks ago, so
Yeah,
it
I know.
makes no sense. Um, Eventually, the world will figure itself out. But while it's happening, at least we have these avenues. We have this here. We have this, and like I said before you came in, we usually you're one of them. Usually we hang out for a while afterwards, even when Nick's starting and stuff like that. We'll hang out for a little while in here, and if someone has a problem, we stay here as long as we can to try and help solve it. Or sometimes they just need someone to talk to or be around them. Distraction, and that's an adaptation versus being isolated and allowing yourself to be isolated because of the pandemic. More nervous to get outside, more nervous to go to the store. You just maybe you never really enjoyed it anyway, and it just gives you a good excuse to stay home. I know I'm kind of a little guilty of that. I always tried to stay home before for the most part, and then the pandemic made it worse. And then I was starting to get back out there again, and when I did, that is when I went out and I wound up going out one time. I came home with the virus. So that doesn't instill the positivity of going out again. That it kind of turns it around, makes you think maybe I should stay home. And then I get to hang out with this guy at least every other week, quite often, more often than that. Usually at least a couple times a week I hang out with Lando. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Speaking of, tonight, recording night. You ready?
Not even close. I halfway through your movie and then I have mine yet. And I have to write the notes and shit too. It's gonna be a
So,
long night.
night. Long night. But yeah. Have you had any major changes, Lando? Because I know you kind of were an introvert a little bit and stayed home mostly. Have you been? Have you done anything different since the pandemic started? Last couple years?
No. I've been acting like it's been a pandemic before the pandemic.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. The people that were already introverts, it didn't affect them too much, but the people that weren't,
Fuck no.
it did. But however, I can say there is something different about you. 2 years ago, you were not as talkative. You were in Zooms, but you were always quiet most of the time. And now you've opened up a lot more over the past couple years. I don't know the reason for it. Don't know if it just happened naturally, but it has happened. So in a way, you've adapted whether you knew it or not, or even tried to do it. I think
I do
you're
better in I do better in smaller crowds, even on Zoom and shit.
Yeah.
yeah. And that's why it's nice here like this. You know, we have a nice quiet night tonight. I haven't been on a Thursday for a while because there's been a slew of reasons why Thursday shows haven't been working, and it's just been driving me crazy. So it was actually really tonight. It felt weird. It's like, okay, nothing's going wrong. Everything's working. Last week I didn't have internet. Well, I had internet, but it was going on and off, so I knew I couldn't run a stream. Just like Tuesday night for the Tuesday takeover, I didn't have internet until halfway through the stream at all. We had lost internet for the entire day. We haven't lost internet that badly since I moved in 5 years ago. So that was kind of crazy. So what have you guys been doing lately for fun?
Working. That's my fun.
Working is your fun.
That's all. That's all I ever seem to do. Just work, 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 work. And obviously, time I finish work,
This might be
it's
something
obviously
you could work
late
on.
here. It's late here for me, but obviously, it's like tea time for you guys.
Yeah, it's what is it? 6 o'clock here. Yeah, now. But it, we
So
just picked up
it's nearly midnight here for me.
and part of the reason I was thinking about this too, about this whole, doing things relaxing, is the other day we were just out shopping, and I picked up a 10-in-1. We already had most of the games, but a 10-in-1 board game set because it came in a nice box. It comes in a wooden box, and all the games are right there. And my Chinese checkers is one of those tin ones you have to pry apart that you can practically kill yourself, but it pops off, it flies, goes flying like a garbage can lid. So I was like, you know what? It'd be nice to be able to just play it without having to fight with it. So I was thinking about that the other day. Try to think of things you can do that are fun, that are different. Try to things that don't cost a lot, or if you do have the money, just try to enjoy yourself with whatever you can. It's not an easy thing to do, so adapting. I thought about the other day, it's like, what would I do? I would like to go out and go places occasionally and go to different things, like especially in the summertime, but uh, yeah, Arnie. Um, there's not as much open, not as much easy. Like we just watched, if anybody follows Disco Potato, she just went to Disney with her family, and that was pretty awesome to see those pictures because it's something that I don't see myself doing for a while, going to Disney. So I was looking at the pictures and stuff. I was like, that was kind of cool, but I wouldn't want to be there. I like seeing the pictures of someone else being there, but I don't want to go. I don't have the ambition to even want to. Like I said, that one time I went out, I got sick. It's kind of, that's in the back of my head. It's almost like a warning sign to me. But yeah, I shouldn't feel that way. And it's something I got to try and work on myself, because you can't be scared to go out all the time, because then take away part of your fun, your relaxation, your zen, so to speak. Yes, I like horror movies.
I'd fucking hope so.
So, yeah, I wanted to just touch on the adapting. Make sure people, take your time, do a little bit of self-reflection, figure out whether or not there's something you could do to make your life a little better, a little more happy. I said happiness because that's actually what the goal is, to try and be as happy as you can in your life. Granted, life is not always happy, but we do the best we can to try and stay that way, because you're always a better person when you're happy than if you're depressed, scared, or lonely. So just do the best you can to try and get out there and be a part of everything.
Yep.
That said, did you have a good week, Lando?
All right. I was kind of hoping my dad would show up this weekend, but apparently not till next weekend. So.
Oh, yeah, because I know you said something. I thought he was coming next week. This past weekend. I thought he was.
Well, last time I saw him, he said he wasn't going to be here till the end of next month, which is this month. So, because I saw him last month, and he was talking about this month. So,
can you believe it's already mid-February already?
Yeah, thankfully it's a short month too. It's only 28 days, thankfully.
Yep.
So I get paid. Not clear, not this Tuesday or this, but yeah, it would be 2 weeks on Tuesday, and I get paid. So.
And Arnie's the one in chat that isn't in Zoom. So Arnie, if you're still there, how was your week? I'd like to know. Hopefully it's well. If it's not, let us know if we can do anything to help. It feels weird. The traffic's extra loud too because it started raining again tonight. It wasn't supposed to do that. So isn't that fun when you get the surprise weather? At least it's warm.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, yesterday I was gonna go for a fucking walk, and then as soon as I get dressed and got my headphones on and everything else, I step out my room. I look in the very little window in the hallway and see snow going. And I'm like, motherfucker. So I got dressed and everything for nothing.
Survived it so far. Or Arnie, I'd like to get you to the point where you're not surviving if we can help in any way. Try to make it so you. And I've had days like this. This time of year is bad for me because I've had so many surgeries, 2 rotator cuff surgeries, 2 knee surgeries. Probably gonna need a 3rd knee surgery here soon. My body hurts in this weather when it starts to get this damp weather in the spring. Most people are like spring, yay! I'm like spring, ouch. And then mud season comes, and I'm like ick. So for me, I don't start feeling the lift of the seasonal depression kick in till it's actually like summer weather. It doesn't even mean summer because last year we had rain way up until like into June. We had this not monsoon rain for like a month and a half here in my area. So, and I know like parts of the UK are like that too, where they get rain a lot. It's like a drizzle rain, but they get rain quite often. That would affect me, I think.
Yeah, they do.
I mean,
We get
isn't
it quite a lot.
London?
We get it living here quite a lot, to be honest. Too
Yeah,
much. That's why a lot of people over in the UK try and go on holiday as much as they can, because a lot of people over here like it hot and not like our weather.
yeah, that would make sense. I mean, it's an island country, so you get a lot of that island like moisture. And I know London's known for those dreary gray days. So
Mhm.
you always hear about that.
If you
60,
like the colour
70
grey, if you like the colour grey in the sky, then come come over to England because you'll see a lot of that.
Yeah, if you like if you're you belong on the movie Twilight, and you get sparkly in the sun, you can go move to England. You'd be set for life. I mean, you hardly ever have to go indoors. Yeah, this sadly that's semi true. Uh, no, that's something. That's why, yeah. And then you have places like I have a friend that came up from New Zealand that did the same thing. Came for a vacation to get a holiday to come over here, and I don't know why felt so exciting to him, because he really can drive in a day, see all the major topographies in the world in that country in one day's drive. You can go through deserts, jungle, uh, mountains, everything. You go north to south, and you can literally see everything. He is telling me about it. That's one of the reasons why you have some movies like the Lord of the Rings was shot there, and that's why, because it has so many topographies. They were able to do that in that country. So it's such a small country. It's amazing that they have so much actual country. I don't know exactly how the UK is, but I imagine it like the cities and stuff. I know they're quite condensed with people.
Hmm.
So how do you manage? I mean, is that why the lockdown is so severe over there? Is because the people were condensed so much they
Wait,
feel like they have to?
you see, like with America, where it'll take you say for one to get to one village from next where you are, it might take you say half an hour, 20 minutes. Like with my next village, it only takes me 10 minutes. We're so close compared to like America, where you don't have to drive along straight down this long road to get to the next village. What could take you 40-minute drive? You know what I mean? Ours
I'm right in
could
the
take you
middle of
5,
two, and
10, 15 minutes.
yeah, I'd be 15 minutes either direction to get to a nearest town from where I am right here to the nearest town. That's not a big town. Those are small towns. But I mean, when you think about that, there's actually a reason for the extra stringent lockdowns. It's a logical reason there. When you have people living in such a small area of like rural areas there, that makes sense. And which that surprises me because what we've seen in legislation in our country when it's come to this pandemic has been a little bit of making sense with a lot of chaos. It's you drive like I live on the border in New Hampshire and Vermont. Do you think that they have the same rules? Not even close. Just for an instance, this state here, you cannot bring a. I mean, you can't get plastic bags anymore. You have to bring your own bags into the store. New Hampshire, you can't bring in your own bags. You have to use the bags in the store. They're exactly the opposite. That's just going to the grocery store or going to any store. And that's literally all that separates me from there. And if I could walk, I could walk in 2 minutes. I could be in New Hampshire because the river separates, except for I have to drive to a bridge to cross. So it takes me more like 10. But that's how close I am to a border, which has completely different rules. So you have to think. You can't just grab bags and go, or don't grab the bags and go. You have to think before you go. Wait a minute, what side of the river am I going on? What if you forget the bags at home and you decide to stop at both sides of the river for different stuff? And that's just one of many weird rules. They're individualistic, and then you have townships and cities that have different rules on top of them that don't comply with others. So adapting, that's part of the adaptation. You have to adapt to the fact that not everything's the same. Like traveling here 10 minutes apart or less can change everything about the way you shop. So you have to keep like a pile of, reusable bags in your car. So if you're on the right side of the river, you have them. And you got to remember to take them into the store, or they're useless. Or you can fill them when you get out in the car, I guess, from the cart. And that's one of many things. So see how we have to adapt, because we never had to worry about that before. You had a choice before the pandemic. You could do either or on either side. Speaking of, what do you guys have for that? Do you have you mandated to either bring your own bags or not be able to?
Well, over here.
Here we don't give a shit. I mean, stores still have plastic and paper bags.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
People can either bring the bags, or we just have normal bags.
So
Bit
it's
like
like we
Mango,
were
really.
before. This is something that's more recent. It's not a old thing. They finally passed it like almost about a year ago now, though. But now, literally, if you're on one side of a bridge going across the river, you have a different set of laws for a grocery store than going to the other side of the river. And people walk across that. You don't even have to have a car to get these two places. Springfield, Vermont, and Charlestown, New Hampshire are literally just on opposite sides of a bridge. And if you go to the grocery store in one, you have to do different things than you do the other. And I sometimes have to think for a second, wait a minute, do I need the bags today or not? And that's just, to me, that's like an added stress that doesn't seem necessary. Because who takes the risk on those bags? I could see if the grocery store didn't want to fill your bags, they make you put it in your cart yourself. I'd understand that. They throw it in your cart, you rebag it. I could see that. But it seems to me like that's just an added stress of something you wouldn't have had to worry about before that neither of you do, but I have to deal with. And that can happen depending on where you live. And the whole world is like that. No one's on the same page. And jobs are like that. You see some places that went to online as much as they can to do their jobs. And there's other jobs that you obviously can't do online. Some of them put protocols in place, and some of them said the protocols will cause too much of a production issue, so we're just going without it. It's all the thought process you have to get through your own head and try to figure out what's best for you. You can't leave your old washing machine in the front lawn in New Hampshire. Yeah. That's actually true. There's actually, in New Hampshire, they have a lot of rules in most places for even vehicles. You have too many vehicles in your yard. And different townships do. If you have your vehicle is broken down and it's in your yard and it's not registered because it's broken down, you're trying to work on it, say it's a project vehicle, if you push it outside, you could actually get fined for it, for leaving it outside. If you're
I wish
restoring,
we had that kind of rule, because our neighbors over here, They have too many damn vehicles, and they're
But you
the
think
ones
about
that you can't stand.
we have some places around here, like there's a place that does Volkswagens down the road, but there's also a place in New York where I grew up that he does Mustangs, rebuilds Mustangs. If he had that rule in place in either one of those locations and it was to the point where they couldn't do it, all those vehicles would have to be registered. No one's going to register that many vehicles, excuse me, if they're repairing them and upgrading them from restoring them. So in a way, I get it to some degree. You don't want the eyesore. But I also don't get it on the fact that if someone's trying to do something like that, do a restoring yard or something like that, they're going to need a parts cars. They're going to need cars. They're going to have them all out there. Obviously not going to be able to keep 50 cars in your garage all at once. So I know this went on a little bit of tangent, but it kind of does fit into what I'm saying. Adapting to different locations, different things. What is best for you? Is there anything that you know that you really want that you can't have where you're at or with what you're doing? If so, what adaptations could you make to actually get your happy place? And Lando's like, just move out of Wisconsin.
Pretty much.
Goodbye, Wisconsin. There, I didn't do hello.
Either way, I hate it when you do that.
Hey, that 70s show was a good show. Red's my hero. No. But
You would think that man would be my father. In a way, he kind of is, but still. My dad's a little bit nicer than that guy. Just a little bit.
how about you, Chris? Is there anything you would really like to change that you're thinking about working toward, a goal?
Yep, changing my job.
What?
Does that count? I said changing my job. Does that count?
Yeah, that definitely counts. It's usually one of the biggest factors. If you're not happy in your job, keep an eye out. Now is a good time to look because there's so many new jobs, different jobs, or jobs that have completely been rebooted and are so much different than they used to be. You might want to even revisit jobs you once before wrote off as something you wouldn't want to do because it might be something you don't necessarily have to enjoy your job. It's nice if you can, but at least not be miserable at your job or not be unhappy. And some of that can be your coworkers even, sadly. I mean, if you're in a job where the coworkers...
AG, that's me as well.
Yeah. Coworkers can be a big deal. If you're working someplace that has even one coworker can be bad if they're argumentative or you have issues with them, but it can be worse if it's actually 3 or 4 or 5 people or more that just don't get along with you and you just go in there and just kind of keep your head down and just mull through it, but you feel like a drone at work, which is okay, but you bring that home. You try to leave it at the door, but it does follow you home if you're doing that day in, day out for long periods of time. Cherokee, good to see you.
Just like me. That's one of the reasons. But you just said right there. That's why I want to leave the job because that's what's happening to me.
You bringing it home?
Yeah.
It does. It affects your mood. It's hard to get out of that funk.
And
It takes
obviously,
effort.
You try and tell your boss, and you feel like you might as well talk to either a wall, talk to the cupboard. You might get more sense out of it. You know what I mean? There's that saying.
Yep. Yeah.
Or
Might
talk
as
to
well
the door.
talk to a wall. That would have responded better. Yep. At least it would have given you an echo.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And a good reason to keep your eye open for something better. Something different.
Oh yeah. I'm like I said. I've been looking all this week, all last week, all week before. Just over here, the people when they apply for jobs, it can take them for 3, 4, maybe 2 months to get back to you. And in that space of time, you might have one what might get back to you within a week, and then the second week you might have an interview.
Yep. Yeah, Cherokee apparently had a moment with his boss this morning too. So that's a big thing. If you have a boss that doesn't listen to you too, that's something I didn't even mention. that's huge. If the boss doesn't want to listen, just maybe he's dealing with the same thing. Goes in there and just kind of zones out for the day, and you're disturbing his melodrama mind. Just kind of just sitting there.
It's not just me. What? He doesn't listen to. He listens to quite a lot of people, and then he wonders why a lot of people are leaving.
That's unfortunate. And definitely a place that sounds like a toxic work environment you want to try to get away from.
Yep.
Same with you see friendships change too. Some people have completely or at least partially changed their friend circle since the pandemic started, because you have people that adapted one way and people adapted another, and sometimes that actually causes rifts that you wouldn't expect. So sometimes, even looking at that, if you feel like maybe whoever one of your good friends was before, it just feels like a bad situation every time you hang out with them. Unfortunately, that's something you want to look at too. Adapt to what's best for you, because you're what's most important in your life. Minus the fact if you have kids or family that you care about or a significant other, that makes sense. But which I always put above myself, always have. But yet, you want to make sure you still worry about yourself, because you aren't any good for them if you're not happy yourself either. And Cherokee, hope you straightened out your boss. I have a feeling you tried at least. So, yeah, this is a good discussion. I'm actually glad to hear about different things, different areas. Yeah, bosses. It's also amazing how some people become bosses, and you wonder how. Because what was the interview process? That they will listen to whatever their bosses told them? I mean, other than that, what were the job requirements to get it? Common sense does not always seem to be a boss trait.
Usually sucking the other guy off. That usually gets the position.
I see Cherokee all the time, and I know that you've been through a lot too, and since this pandemic started too. How have you adapted? Have you had to adapt much? Not only because of the pandemic, but because of what you've had to deal with your, it was what you had to deal with your, surgery and everything. Is there anything? I know that there are things you're supposed to do differently. I'm just curious on how much you've actually changed and adapted versus what you were, not compared to what you're supposed to, but whether or not you have. Because I know I didn't adapt as well as I was supposed to once I had my heart surgery. That was kind of something I kind of ignored and pushed through anyway, because I'm stubborn like that.
You think?
Yeah, you hear that? You think. Peanut Gallery talking over there now. But no, used to be that you got promoted because you were. A lot of times they don't even take
your job. Yeah,
they don't take into consideration how well you communicate with others before you get a job position. They go by, oh, you do really good with this, this, and this, but they don't take into consideration that's the person that doesn't get along with anyone, doesn't talk to anybody, and can't carry on a conversation without someone getting upset. Maybe they aren't boss material. Maybe they shouldn't be promoted. They didn't tell you to do anything different. No, you probably didn't ask either, but I'm just guessing, Cherokee, because I know you didn't adhere to all the guidelines you were supposed to. I didn't either. I can't fault you for it. But no, I think that we are moving forward. I think we all have adapted in some way. This right here, being here on this show or in chat, or even people watching, if you're doing this, you're trying to work on what is good for you and what is helping in your life, or at least thinking about it. And even thinking about it is a step in the right direction. And apparently, I'm guessing, Lando's dealing with cold upstairs again. Because you got the thick hat on. You got the thick hat on today.
I always wear this one.
Isn't it usually cold in there?
Well, yeah, but then I put my space heater on.
Yeah, see, that's what I've been trying to do, but I will say it's difficult, Cherokee, with the prices of meat in this area right now. I've got a farm up the road I got to talk to that sells that raises cattle. It's just up my road, and I got to go talk to them and see what I can do because grocery stores is insane. We were talking about it yesterday about in an after show. Let's use bacon as an example. You used to be able to get bacon for $3 to $4 a pound now, or sometimes 12 ounces. But now you see it all over here for $8.99 at the cheapest average price for 12 ounces. That's insane. Bacon is the throwaway meat they used to just give away almost. Now it's like outrageously priced, and everything's kind of accordingly. Some of it, I think we are finally seeing possibly, unless they just hike the prices, that storm in Texas. They did lose some of the youngling animals during that time with that cold front. And the small animals didn't survive. And we might be seeing finally that kicking in to that. That's what generation of the animals we're at right now. And the meat shortage might be real to some in the U.S. because a lot of meats do come from Texas. So that's a possibility. So we'll see. If it doesn't go back down, which it probably won't because prices go up and they never go quite all the way back down. Gas prices up does not help because transportation issues. I don't know how bad it is over there. Chris, what is petrol like over there in the UK? Has that went up significantly over the past year and a half?
It's gone up in past 2 years. It's gone up really high over there, petrol and diesel.
Yep. So transportation costs more, which means
everything's going up here. Your bills, Wi-Fi, food, everything.
What were they talking about? Was it taxes or something like that in the UK?
Yeah,
going up by taxes are going to be going up like 150% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's severe hike in taxes. And that's UK wide, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, right there. $15.99 for 3 pounds of bacon. And that's a deal, Cherokee. That's a deal now. That's not what it used to be. That used to be for the premium stuff only. So, yeah, that's another thing. Adapt to that, too. Adapting to your new grocery bills can be fun. And I know Lando understands this completely because the more he's tried to be healthy, the more he's realized, sometimes we can't be. If you're on a budget, you end up having a non-keto day.
I knew that before the pandemic. I mean, when I was seeing a dietitian, my groceries were not cheap even back then. And this is like 6-7 years ago when I started.
And now with more people going keto, because they're stuck at home, not being able to get the exercise they got before, seeing a widespread keto push. Yep. We cleared out. They had that sale on hamburger. We cleared out the entire shelf of the grocery store. Hamburger and pork chops. They're gone. Everything that was on the shelf came home with us. Because, they never have sales like that anymore. So we actually got a bunch of it. But yeah, eating healthy. And dietitians were pushing me because Cherokee, you should know this. And also with diabetes as well. But with the heart, they try to push you towards legumes and stuff. Well, with diabetes, that's not necessarily the greatest idea to go heavy with that because there's a lot of carbs in that. So that kind of offsets. If you're on metformin, Lando's been on it a little bit.
Especially if you're diabetic as well.
Yeah, and that's what I'm on metformin, and I can't have a lot of carbs at once. So I would have to eat like 15 meals a day, real small, minor portions or something like that in order to get the calories I need to sustain myself through a day. No, I'm not doing that so I can eat a bunch of beans. And then I can just be gassy all day long. On the flip side, I mean, I wish we could bottle that gas because gas prices are high, right?
Not the right kind of gas.
Hey, they can use it. I know they can. I've seen Mad Max, Thunderdome. Master Blaster was in charge of that. We got to hook up with him. He knows how. No, it's true though. I mean, and yeah, meat and tuna. But I can't wait for spring, real spring. I got the pond full of trout right there for me. But the problem is she's not a fan of trout. She's not a fan of fish in general, other than tuna. So for me, it's good because I can go out and literally from pond to pan in less than 5 minutes. So I can make myself a nice lunch, a fresh lunch. Cat loves it. He gets the bones and chew on them. Cat will go nuts over it. There ain't meat left on those bones. He's got it. So he's happy whenever I do it too. But that's a plus of being here. That's something I've adapted to too, that I realized that a few years ago. Now I've got that going on, and it's another way to kind of make your life a little better. And I'm trying to be more sufficient here on the property because I have plenty of property to grow a nice big garden. I just haven't because if it's just us. This is why as a community does grow here, because there will be one eventually, community garden and stuff like that, because I want to do that here to try and adapt. That's the future plan for this place, so that people can work together and have the things that would cost a fortune, or at least increase their bills in order to do outside of the house. So it's like I can do my own maple syrup. I've done it. Not going to do it this year because I still have some left last year because I can only have so much sugar being diabetic, which is unfortunate because, again, I kind of like my maple syrup. When I didn't have unlimited quantities of something, that's when it was expensive. So
They do make sugar-free ones.
Sugar-free maple syrup from maple trees?
Yep.
How do you make sugar-free from the maple tree?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's got sugar added to it.
Oh, there's no sugar added to it. You do is boil down the sap, and that's what becomes a maple syrup. It's literally just boiled down sap.
Well, they have it.
Again, I'm imagining it's flavored. It's a flavored
No, it's
syrup.
just plain maple syrup. Just sugar-free.
Yeah, we have it over here.
You do?
We can buy sugar-free one.
Agreed, Cherokee. Maple sap is great, and if you run it through like a reverse osmosis system once, you could, or if you wanted to, just give it the first boil. You can actually pour it in and actually use it in place of water in a drink, and it gives you that just nice slight sweetness to your water and maple flavor. It's actually really good. And with a reverse osmosis system, you can actually create pure water from it. So you could actually create nice filtered water from making your maple syrup, because you can get it 50% or so of your water out of your syrup sap through a reverse osmosis filter. Costs more to get it started, but once you get started, it actually saves a lot of time in boiling. Now we're getting into technical aspects of something that Lando's like, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm hardly paying attention.
See? Yeah. But yeah, there's I like that kind of thing. Anything that's technical that can work on stuff, I like to keep myself busy that way. I try to do that at home too. Something I've been getting better at since the pandemic because I haven't been going out as much. And I've been trying to think of things I can do to improve around here and improve things I do around here. And there's a few things I need to buy, which I will be able to buy by this fall to get stuff done. Lumber prices just went through the roof here recently since the pandemic. And I have plenty of standing trees on the property that I could use for the lumber. And I used to run a portable sawmill, so that'll be coming back. I'm going to get another portable sawmill, cut my own lumber for all the repairs and stuff I need to do to the apartments. I'm just not going to buy it all. I'll just cut it, let it sit for a year, and then I'll put it up. NP maple syrup, or is that supposed to be no maple syrup in it? I don't know. I have to look into that. I didn't know that you could do it, and I don't know how it's done. So I'd have to see how they make it. But yeah, sugar free would be good as long as it's not using additives that are not good for you. That's the other worry you have. Some of the additives they used. Do you remember what was they used to use in chewing gum that turns out to be cancerous?
No idea.
There was a sugar free additive they used to use widespread, and then turns out it was cancerous. Causes cancer. But yeah, that's the other thing. If I thin out the evergreens on the thing to make the lumber, to make the softwood lumber, thinning them out will actually help my maple trees so they produce more maple syrup. See, I'm thinking ahead. That's my plan over the next 5 years. That's what I'll be doing, and I'm sure you'll see some video on here, some uploads of some of the work as it's being done. Saccharin, that's it. Yeah, saccharin was a known cancer causer, and it was used in heavy doses in chewing gum. So it's like, yeah, that's good. It's good for you. No, it's not. So, Lando, over the next 2 weeks, what do you have planned? Oh, wait a minute. No, it's this week. It's not 2 weeks. It's this week. What do you have planned here? Do you have something really special coming up this weekend? Wink, wink.
A new episode of the podcast. That's about it.
Which will be recorded later on tonight.
Mm-hmm. And up by Saturday. It's Fridays are editing days, and
which he's gotten much better at. That's something else you've adapted to. You've gotten much quicker at the editing.
well, that's because somebody let me know there was something that I could do a lot quicker.
We got a lot of people in our community there that do a lot of stuff. Like Cherokee's a part of it. I've seen him there before. But anyone who's mixing and stuff, we got a fun episode coming up this next weekend. I believe Zippy's already got up. I'm hoping it's the New Orleans mixing. I'm going to make a king cake. And for next week, I already got it up. If anyone wants to look at it ahead of time, I put up a vanilla bourbon cake recipe for next week's challenge for on Benny Vape's channel for the UK e-liquid mixing show. That's up on my ELR if anyone's interested. So, just so there's things you can do. Like that's become more of a hobby for me. It started as a hobby, and for some reason I got sucked into shows. I don't know how that happened exactly, but it's actually kind of nice. It's giving me a nice distraction of something I enjoy. It's kind of like it's the same idea of getting in the kitchen and cooking a bunch of recipes, except for you're not limited by what's in your fridge because flavorings are, easier to maintain and keep. You can get them and they last a while versus, having to have fresh ingredients in your fridge all the time to make elaborate recipes. And I love that kind of experimentation. It's a lot of fun. So it's like the maple thing. I'll look into that. Another thing we should do is probably an episode again soon that I know Lando could even help with a little bit because he did do a little of this Keto Dive. Sorry about the truck going by. Did a Keto Dive. There's, the keto diet is actually a good one for many people. Hey, Toonie. Love you, brother. How's mom? But maybe I can reach out to Disco and maybe she could get some pointers because she's actually done a lot of this keto diet and has been an extreme success story with it. You have a rabbit to go down a hole with you. Yeah, it's been fun. And it's just amazing. And Addie actually has been a big help with that. Like I was talking about the liquid mixing shows and like mixing. Addie was a big part of getting started with that. And I'm really thankful for that, for everyone who got me started down that whole rabbit hole, because it's a lot of fun. It's something that's positive, and we get to enjoy it. When she's got something, I'm working on her. You talked about Batman, Chris. What I'm working on with her is, well, it's not. No, that's not the Batman one. That's actually Eric's deep cuts. Um, as it's getting harder to get these liquids, she's having me work on a dragon shake recipe, like a dragon milkshake recipe. Unfortunately, I don't have the right dragon fruit that matches that one. I'm going to order it the next time. I'm pretty sure I know which one it is. The one I have is a little bit more like a fresh dragon fruit versus like a, ripe, fully ripened, like I have the BSO version. So it's like this kind of thing where you're trying to mimic the things you love just in case you can't get them. In the U.S., this is becoming more and more important as we have problems getting stuff. And that's something, Lando, I know you know a lot about. Trying to get stuff, like your shop that you had didn't have hardly anything, the one you were going to, and you found another one, right?
It's the other way around.
Oh.
The new shop doesn't have much because
Ah.
of it being new.
Ugh.
Because I went there the first time and I asked them if they had any cotton, and they had zero cotton. The only thing that they had with cotton was pre-made coils.
Pre-made coils with cotton?
Yeah, coil heads,
Oh, the
those things.
coil heads. You mean like the, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Right, guys, I'm gonna have to
Sabon.
go. I'm gonna have to go to bed. It's now 4 o'clock morning.
It's okay. We're going to get going too here. Chris, is there anything you'd like to say or talk about before you leave? Or are you just going to get going because you need to get to bed?
No, all I'm gonna say is just thanks for having me on the show for an hour or so, and hopefully I'll see you again. Are you doing a live show on Saturday? Or the
I'll be
gaming
doing
show?
I'll be doing a gaming show on Saturday. Still looking
Yeah.
for new games. If anyone out there has a suggestion of a game that works with, remember that it is potentially up to like 30 seconds of delay, so it does change what games you can play, unfortunately. The people in Zoom can, if you're willing to join Zoom, we could always play some different games. We get enough people in here, because those don't matter because there won't be as big a delay. It's the live airing thing through YouTube that gives a little bit of delay. So yeah, always looking for some new games and new content, just to keep it lively. So yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I'll see you on Saturday if you're there. I can't wait to see you.
Yeah. I'll see you on Saturday. Yeah.
All right, you have a
All
good
right,
night.
guys.
Get some sleep.
Yeah, we'll do. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye. Lando, on that note, do you want to drop the link once again and links once again and let people know what's coming up this week?
Sure, why the hell not? Yeah, we'll be like Tim said about a billion times now. We'll be reviewing 2 movies. We are doing witch movies, so if you're into witches and shit, you might like these movies. So far, I'm not liking Tim's choice.
Wait for
As
it.
usual.
It gets better. It gets better.
Yeah, shh. Shut your fucking mouth, or I'll fire
Okay.
you. Anyways,
Okay.
we'll be reviewing those tonight, and then Saturday they'll be up and ready to go. So there's that. We still have a Discord for now. Up that link to. We only have like 8 or 9 people on there. We would have more, but a certain someone left recently, or at least I just noticed recently that they left. But oh well. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. Like I said, you can see me on Sundays at Mixers Helping Mixers on Vaping Truckers channel. R.I.P. Vaping Trucker, we miss you. Tuesday nights on Mixers Helping Mixers, And on Wednesdays, Mixers Helping Mixers on Fresh L 3's channel, and Wednesdays on Benny Vape's channels for the UKE Liquid Mixing Show. As well as we have the Break the Stigma with Unity Discord, which, by the way, if anybody is curious, Lando actually picked the thumbnail for that by the second time. Both of them were. But yeah, that's a place for anyone that needs a nice, safe place to, hang out. Sometimes you can just creep and just watch. Sometimes that helps. It's helped quite a few people, or PM people that you find in there that you feel like might be able to help you with what your issue is. That's happened several times as well. Other than that, you can find me as an advocate for liberty on all social medias, and the links to them are all right there, and the streaming links. Which Lando was a part of getting me to put that together too, because he kept saying, "I need a place for all your links instead of." He did say a few times.
Your link, I think your IG is on my link.
Yep. Yeah.
As well, because I put both our contact info on there.
Yeah, I've got to become more active on these things. I apologize. As you get busy, it's sometimes you lose touch of some things. It's like I found out that my Twitter isn't doing my Twitter. It's doing like a secondary Twitter account off my iPhone, which I got to fix. That's why if you haven't seen any content on my Twitter, there's a reason why it's on a different Twitter that's not really the same Twitter, but it is. I don't understand how that worked, but I'll figure it out eventually. I just realized that this week. But you can have a good night. And yes, Addie just dropped all those links. Every single one's important. Everything from suicide prevention to a Lifeline hotline, all the way down to a GoFundMe for our friend Edward Cap. If you don't know what's going on with the Cap, go ahead and give that GoFundMe a read. There's a good reason for, if you have a few extra bucks to throw him his way, he could really use it. It's for a good cause. He needs to be able to get to and from his appointments. Oh, and Toonie got his first check. Congratulations, Toonie. He's seasoned enough 21 to the point where he got his first Social Security check. You have a good night, and please tune in to Grim Green. Nick will be on in less than a half an hour and live, so please tune in over there and have a little fun and give him a little love. He's been supporting the community for a long time, not just for the vaping community, but in general, like anyone. He's just all around a good person who's been promoting mental health as well as physical health well-being for a very long time. So please tune in and give him a shout out. If you want to drop bananas and any type of sports ball you want in chat, go for it. It's a lot of fun. He knows what it means now, so he laughs every once in a while. Love you guys. You guys have a good night. Thank you, Lando, for being on again. It's always good to see you. Now, everybody, have a good night. Enjoy this outro, which this outro is Adam Pilarczyk from Eddie and the Arsons. He did this all by himself. I believe it's Cheers on it. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's one of his songs. And this is actually him. You've heard it on the intro. And there you go, the banana balls. Yeah, love you guys. You have a good week. I will see some of you on Saturday. If not, I'll hopefully see you next Thursday. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want